So, okay, all right. So today's drafting training is me. I'm the host, Celine, from drafting department, and my topic today is visibility and graphics control tips in Revit. It might be probably something that really my job experience it lead to this topic, because if not my past projects, it would not bring up today's topic probably. So really it's maybe some personal jobs experience, or maybe you will face this in the future, so it's good to know for how you control the graphics and visibility in Revit. So why visibility control is important in Revit? So I think not only the drafters, maybe other people too, you will always having too many things turn on at the same time, so which will give you overwhelm. So you can see that the lower pictures is the floor plans from one of the job, and it has 6 or 7 models linked together, and you have no clue that what you're really looking at, so you might get overwhelmed, right? And then second is you might edit the wrong element, which might cause mistake. So we have recent experience that drafter edit the wrong units when you have the extended cover in the front and then your curtain wall at the back, and you kick at the wrong element, which shouldn't happen, but it might happen because you can see that if you have a project in your 3D view, it cannot see your element that you really want to click at, and you might click at the wrong one and you don't know. And number 3 is we need a good presentation for showing our shop drawings, and always our goal, a good quality shop drawings to show all of our scopes and all the necessary information from other trades that will affect our scopes. Yeah, so even though other trades were not really, sometimes it's not directly related to our scopes, but later on the field might ask the questions and why you are not showing this and that, and it's good to show some structures or other even mechanics thing might sometimes it might helpful for the field, like you have the mechanic panel or like a roof panel, and it has a lot of mechanical things, so in that case it might you might need to show other trade scopes a lot. So talking about that, since it's important, so let's learn about how to better control the object display in Revit. There are 2 major primary controls for altering the object's display in Revit. First one is object styles. So this one is a global project setting. So you can see that under Manage tab, you go to Object Styles, and this is the dialog box you can see after you click Object Styles. And this is a setting that once you set it, and it will show consistently no matter which view you are at. So if you're looking at the model, the true model, and everything will show the same no matter which view you're looking at. So the cut, lightweight, and you can set the light color, the light pattern, and material. I'm not talking about deeply here since we already set it up in our standard. So this will not too worry about it, and so I'm not gonna go too deep into it. And you can see that the lines that is not, the wall is not cutting in this floor plan will show thinner than the wall is truly cut. This is an example just for object styles. And so today's the main topic really is about the visibility and graphics overrides in the view. This is view specific. So the setting you change in your view, it won't affect the rest of the views in the project. So people always asking this question like, oh, if I change this, will I affect the rest of the project? No. So this function that I'm talking about will not affect the rest of the views of your project. So let's continue. So visibility and graphics overrides the view. I'm gonna talk about a couple things. There are model categories, Revit links, filter, work sets. This is the main thing I'm gonna talk about in this meeting. And so for model categories, the WW standard view template have already set up certain categories display on or off under model categories tab. So as I said, it will have something that you might need to turn on. Obviously, it depends on your project. But based on the standard template, we will not worry too much about it, but I can go over this really quick in my Revit later. And I'm gonna talk about transparency under surface projection, which is you can avoid using wireframe view mode. Because I see some people, they turn on the wireframe mode. So I try to say just avoid using that because it will show too much thing. And sometimes the drafter will say, oh, why this page take forever to print? This is because you turn on the wireframe view mode. This is maybe one of the reasons. So just try to avoid using this view if you're printing your shop drawings or like even you, yeah, anytime. For my perspective, if needed, sometimes probably you show a little 3D view with wireframe mode, probably you can do that. But yeah, we try to not use that in our shop drawing. And I can talk about halftone. I can show about that in my Revit later. And I'm gonna talk about Revit links. So let's go to, sorry, I was kicked out the wrong one. So I'm using Matilda as example. So if you go to manage, go to view, sorry, go to view, and then there's a visibility graphics. So it showed, you can click this one or either you can hit VV. I think people already know about this. So under model categories, these are the objects currently showing. So this is what I manage in my model. Obviously, some model will simpler than some model, depends on what model you are getting. So you can turn them off easily and you can expand the dialog box. There are more deeper subcategory inside and you can make sure if they are turned on or off in the same time. So this is what I setting, and then you can change the lines and transparency of certain categories, and the halftone you can also change wherever you show in the model. This is the categories that really inside our model. So it's WW model, it's not any link model. So I'm turning on the structural, only the structural framing, and yeah, I turn off a lot of things. Just I don't want too many things show up. And this is what I didn't change this much. And let's go to Revit links. And I have the architect model turned off in this view. Let's go to the other view. So this one, you can see that I have everything turned on in the architect model, which is I don't want. So you can go to Revit links, and probably you want to show on just partial of it. And so you go to this button and display settings. And in basics, you have to change the custom and go to model categories and change this one to custom so that you can enable to show on or off of all the categories. And these are the things, or a lot of things. For example, I don't want this thing showing, and same thing for, like, I don't need conduits, but I know some jobs might have conduits inside some of our panel or what, and I have that before. And for this project, because I know what I gonna need, so I gonna turn off maybe a lot of things, right? and same as what you're seeing in my other view. So I just can turn off them. So after that I can, this is what I can see that in my which one? The other one. So this is the other one I have already, oops, sorry. Let me go back to, sorry, I have something I have to turn on the project browser. Okay, so after I apply those settings, it will look much cleaner. I just need the stairs turned on. I turn off the other thing, no interior wall, just very necessary walls that inside, but I can just show how I manage that later. So I also want to show the transparency for the floor plans or in your details. We're not recommending to use the wireframe view mode, because you can play around the transparency inside your model categories. You can see that my embed is showing because I have the, let me expand this, because I have the force transparency on, and I have the halftone too, because this is the sharp drawing, so the force is really have to show in embeds later, so I will not stand it out, so it makes the glass more standing out, and the frost and embed is a little bit gray out with clips or anchors. So this is transparency and halftone. Halftone is something that really optional, but for my personal perspective, some detail is really good to use, like the right picture you can see in here. So this detail is mainly for guardrail glass, and nothing about glass, nothing about screen wall, but you can see that the outrigger screen wall is right penetrates through the guardrail. But I don't want to really focus on the screen wall. People might be building them and circle them, right? But really you can see this information on the other details. So that's why I'm graying out in here. So my guardrail glass is really standing out. So people will focus on my subject in my view right now, right? So that's good to use, I think. So same thing for Revit links, you can use the same transparency and halftone, and no annotation categories display on in the Revit links for my project, and I don't know other people. And also the standard view templates will apply to the Revit links sometimes, but for my project, I always need to manually adjust the model categories under the Revit links, because it really depends on your project needs again. Yep. So let's continue. So next one is under the visibility and graphics override still. And this one I'm gonna talk about is annotation categories. Mainly I'm gonna focus on reference plane. So I know still people is both hate and like it at the same time. It's because they feel like it's all over the place, because the reference plane is 3D and you have hard time to really manage them, or it will get overwhelmed a little bit. But yeah, I list out the pros and cons here from people's experience and also my experience. So for annotation perspective, right, the reason why I love reference plane is it provide 100% for your Revit dimension strings. So for my project, is the past two projects, I mean, from the beginning to the end, the almost 80% to 90% of the project is totally changed from the beginning. So at the same time I'm modeling and I put in dimension strings sometimes, and I will lose all the dimensions if my model is consistently changing and I have no control of what's going on will happening the next second. So, but if you use reference plane, all your dimension will be snapping to the reference plane. Your dimensions will be forever there unless you just delete them or like you're doing something moving around or what. But yeah, if you protect it well, it will always there. You will not gone. So that's why I love to use it. I cannot imagine if I don't use this with my design build project, because otherwise I will do those dimensions over 100 times, or yeah, things will get too much. And cons, like what I'm saying, you will be all over every view. That makes your view really messy. But I have a trick here. From what your project is using from 2018, I believe you can well organize your reference plane well, and to manage which one you want to display in certain elevation or floor plan, you can have different setting for your reference plane. So that's why that is the beginning of when I using it. Is I found it's just a relief to just use these subcategory things. So you can see that the picture, I have reference plane all over the place in my floor plan. And if you manage it well, it will be turning off. I can show you later in the next slide. And how to create the reference plane subcategory, right? And also manage it, right? So you go to manage and you go to object styles again. And under annotation objects, that's reference planes. And you can see that you can hit a plus sign, or there's no plus sign in the beginning. You can hit new and you can create the subcategory here. And you can change its line weight and the color of it, and also the pattern of your lines, which is nice because you can make some other lines compared to what it is before, because the old reference plane is just one color, one dash line, and right now you can do a lot of properties to it. And then this is the screenshot I have from Matilda. We have a lot of subcategory set up, and even though yeah, it shows here for the name of subcategory, I will show in detail later. And even it show the work set, I can explain work set later. So next is subcategory, obviously. So create subcategory to manage display on or off while you are working with just curtain wall or just panel or even more. So imagine that you have many people working in the same model, and you guys like maybe you're doing the same thing because you would like to use reference plane, and it's hard to manage and it will show everywhere. You don't know which one you're really using, so you get really confused and overwhelmed. So we're doing some cleanup here, like the floor plans, for example. With all the reference plane show up, right, you will get too much. And then this one is after I'm doing something in the override the view, and it turned off the subcategory, which I don't want to show in floor plan. It look much cleaner, and only show the one that I still needed at the DP dimension point. This is what I only need to select to in my floor plan. That's why I like to be on for that reference plane. But the intermediate vertical, I turn them all off. So like what I'm saying, the other example, I make a word category to use at the grid line of Moonian. So you can manage to turn on in elevation template only. So that's why you can see that the word subcategory is turned off in a floor plan. It's only the DP category turned on. And you can make panel category even, and you can name whatever. You can, for example, you can name guardrail, you can name maybe L-word panel, or you can make whatever category. If you work on the other like canopy, you can make that too. You can manage well with those names. So like what I'm saying, the panel category also not turned on in my glass scope sheet. It's only showing on any panel scope sheet, like its elevations or details in the panels. So I can choose them to not showing in my current work floor plan too. And the other example is you can play around with the solid lines or dash line. Dash lines are for panel scopes, for example. Solid lines are for current work scope, for example. So you can easily tell that which one is really for glass, which one is really for panel. It's just one of my examples, so it really depends on your project too. And so I can show how we create a reference plane, and you go to manage. So normally people will know this under architecture, there's a reference plane here, and you drop down this menu under the end. It's create new subcategory. You can either click at this one, or you can go to manage object styles. Under this is annotation objects. Go to reference plane, and you can see that I have all this creating in the beginning. And it take a little bit while in the beginning, but you will benefit at the end. So you can create a new one by click new, and you just make one new here. So you can change the line to be different line types, change the color, or yep. And so I'm gonna show what I have setting here in my floor plan, and go to my all reference planes one. So if I hit VV and go to annotation categories, reference planes. So if I have all the dimension point, so dimension point is I'm calling just DP is this stand just for easily to tell there's no other naming convention in front. So I know this is for glass. Anything beginning with panel is panel. So I have all this is stands for vertical. So I turn them off. And then I only leave the one that with DP on. I turn all the rest off. And after that, you can see that my dimension is still here, right? But the other reference planes, which is not necessary for my DPDB dimension, they are all off, which it will look much cleaner, and I can easily tell all my dimension is slapping to my reference plane. And so wherever I move my model, my dimension is still there. So the thing is, you always need to think about update your model, and then at the same time update your reference plane for sure. But there's no need, you need to remake these dimensions, right? And you can easily just edit that, or use your reference plane to lay out your model, like how to make sure this is the right dimension point, and there's no doubt to look at the reference plane. So I think this is this slide. So let's continue. The next one is filters. So why filters? Filters because sometimes you have the objects is in same category, and then you cannot really turn the things that you want off within the same category, and you will turn them all of them off. So how to better manage the elements? Probably you can use the filters. So wheel filters create filters based on a set of selected elements or based on categories and parameter values. So apply these filters to the wheels or to change the visibility or graphic display of the elements. So I use this one only at the edge of select or embed drawings. The reason why is the embed drawings, they will have a lot of things showing up like the glass floor plan. If you don't have the right setting and don't have the filter, and everything will show up like the glass floor plan like this one. And all the glass elevation views and interior wall and everything is all around, and which is not really nice. And so this one, well, the other thing is you can manually hide them, right? So everyone knows this trick in Revit. This you can just right click, you can window select this way and select them all at once. You can use filter out and hide them all in one view. But in that case, it's hard to select for this interior wall, and sometimes some of the wheels you might not able to select, or some of the wheels you accidentally select but you don't want to select, right? So in here I create some filters to just want the objects I want to show on. For the walls, I only turn on the one I needed, and then only turn on the floor that I needed, and also just filter out the other callouts. And this one is the embed joints. So I also have the door showing up here, but I'm talking about a filter right now. So how I'm doing it? Let's go to this one. So this one is already have the same setting as the one you see in slideshow. So filter is same as the other one. You hit VV, or either you go to view, and there's a graphic visibility again, and then you go filter, and there's no filter currently. So how I adding a filter here? So you can add a new one. I have already set up some of the parameters before, and you can easily add some of them here. So I can try to use this one to show what is it look like. So it's this one and this one. So I go into it, can edit them. So if you're creating from scratch, you just click this button, and then you click this button new, and you click at the elements that assigned to these parameters. So for this WW curve, what I want to do is I let Revit to just filter out the floors, walls, roof, floors. Yeah, I'm talking about floors, and filter out those. I only want to show up those that related to our scopes. Any interior wall that will be turned off. What I doing that is I choose floors, roofs, walls here, and then I choose structural material that's not equal and contain WW concrete. So that means if your wall or floors contain this structural material WW concrete, and it will show in my embed drawings or my embed details with aside this parameter value. So same thing, probably not this one. I remove this one. I will this one. Yeah, this one is the one I'm gonna use in my embed drawings. Sorry. So for the EOS embed calls, I will filter out those is not for embeds, which is maybe curtain wall or panels. So what I'm doing is I also create this filter, and then I choose call outs, elevations, and sections. Probably sometimes the sections too. So my family and type does not contain EOS/embed. So for that case, all my embed views or floor plan or enlarged plan will have this name. Otherwise, it will not show in my view also. So view name also it say does not begin with. So any sheet that begin with 4 and then will show it on my view. So this one is kind of tricky because after you put on the sheet, it might show up, but before that might not show up. But I think it's filtered by the logic by EOS/embed also. So after I apply this, see that it's automatically turned off, and I don't really need to do anything for that, right? But I have also my reference plane turned on, which is from the glass, which is nice because I can see that is how it's related to my adjust. Like my adjust that is flush with my face-off system, which is really nice. I like this function, but I don't know any of you because if looking at the glass, maybe a little bit overwhelmed. But if by looking at the reference plane, it will look much cleaner and easier for my perspective. So this one is the filter. Any questions so far? Any questions so far?
Celine?
Mm-hmm.
So far, I really like what you do here. I think you nailed it. I do a lot of filters, search information layer by layer, but I really haven't done that far. I definitely will try your way to go deep over there. But one thing I want to point out, which is you just mentioned that one, how to name it is critical. You really need to thinking far for filter later. Because the naming, it's kind of a alphabetical order. So that way you can have hundreds, thousands different naming over here. So I do use that a lot. And also I think the point is you mentioned about the reference line, which by look at the reference line, you can tell, for example, for Samaritan job, that's a first job I deep in over there for the sales model. So by look at the reference line, to me it's very messy over there. But you can tell people is really struggling for the geometry when they build the model. You can tell that one. But I was told I couldn't delete anything because I just was told don't delete it. I was like, okay. But if you don't delete it, if you don't clean it, it's very hard for us. When you pick the dimension, when you're picking the dimension point, if you're not picking the right one, it can be disappeared, once you turn that off. But so this is what I'm trying to thinking when people doing that one, you need to think we are a team. When you're doing something, you need thinking for others, not just finish your work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the key point is having one person manage it instead of too many people also in the beginning. And then later on, when you are like have other team to come in on board, that will be
yes, I totally agree.
Idea. They can follow your pattern because you already have the beginning and they can follow the similar sample to naming them.
Right. Yeah. And also, I think by searching other parties, the model when you have tone underlay over there, it is possible, which I did before, on my previous job, when I see something over there, because you don't know other people's architect model, structure model, how they naming them stuff. So when you try to navigating, it's hard. So it is possible you reach out to their drafter to just probably 15 minutes communication, you will know how they organize their drawings. So to help you save a lot of time later navigating other people's model. Because they have their own logic over there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, let's continue. Thank you. So the next one is work sets. So for this one, I have experience beginning for my last two projects, and I getting more experience on it. So I think it's good to share right now a little bit, but it's something that bring up in Amy's training before, so I can emphasize again or just share again this experience a little more. So while modeling workset visibility is a better way than temporary hide / isolate mode or hiding view. So for example, if you are the drafter modeling it, you might be using the wheel for 2 days and you just use the wheel, you're not setting up anything else. Of course, you will not choose the temporary height, right? Because it will come back later on if you exit it or reopen your model or what. So maybe you can use hiding view, but it's a little bit too much. Like sometimes you window select, your model will be like waiting for 10 minutes to just hide the things. So it depends on how big the project again. Um, so maybe the work set is a better way. So that's what I found. If you set it up nicely, you have different work set. You can make whatever more categories. It doesn't need to be like this, but this is my first one that have this so many work set compared to the past projects. So in the beginning, you just set it up with the blank workset after you collaborate your model. And then you can assign the model into the workset that under the properties. So I can show a little bit later. And like I was saying, besides working with ownership of objects in worksets, this is the beginning of the workset. Is the people can own the objects in a group or a bunch, and then someone have to borrow it or cannot modify it, right? But you could also manage the visibility much faster and easier. This is, oh, sorry. And then I'm gonna show how. So I just show one side of the building because it would take a little bit time to, like, for example, if you wanna just show something, right? And the other ways you can just window select this way. I'm not gonna select that. Just window select this way, and then probably here, maybe just here, just a little chunk. And then you go filter and you can just unselect and select the one you want. But in this way, there are some graphs maybe not your scope and it will select at the same time, right? So like I was saying, I sometimes work, sometimes no. So it will be better that you use workset. And you can see that if I click at my current wall, under workset, I put this one is the extended cover. I put that the curtain wall extended cover workset so that if I model the glass and accidentally click at the thing, I can also turn off the extended cover to avoid that I was accidentally walk on the extended cover. So after the other one is, let me show the other one too. This is also extended cover. Choose the one not extended cover. This is curtain wall, and then I have my panel work set, panel at eyebrow. This is the work set at eyebrow. So if I don't have this one, please turn off my. Okay, go VV or visibility under wheel again, and you go to work sets, and you can see that all the work set is use global setting. So this one is under the Collaborate work set. After you setting up, this is the setting that is a global setting. So I have everything turned on except the archive. Archive is something that like a trash. I just throw into it in case I need it later. So I always turn it off and other setting is on. So that means this is what it means under the under the use global setting. So right now I just test it out. How do I turn them off or on? I turn them all off, just hit shift, right? And then I only want my curtain wall turn on, and I don't want the extended cover turn on. Probably I will leave my slab on, right? And see that how quick it is. Just turn off all the things that I don't want. And yep, but like what I'm saying, like what Lynn's saying too, you need to be team-minded. Like when you're working on a thing, you have to make sure the thing put in the right work set. Otherwise, people will have to chase your tail, have to clean up your work. And hey, this is not in the right work set sometimes. And with this one, it's really nice because we don't need to ask people to relinquish our will. A lot of times in the past, we always ask people if we in certain will, and people try to hide the things, and we cannot hide it because someone is overriding the will by just go to the work set, and then they change this setting here, and which is once someone is a borrower or owner, and then you have to ask someone to relinquish, otherwise you cannot change. And then it's because a lot of people working in the same model, we need the work set. So if more manageable, like more category or more work set up, and it will be easier to manage in this way, right? And if you need to edit, you just basically go to your own wheel. And this is the cleaner wheel I have because I have the same setting. And which is I don't want the panel scopes showing on. And but if you're looking at other people, they might they might have the panel scopes turned on. I'm not sure, but let me check out. Yeah, they will have a different setting because they have different work set compared to mine. But I don't see any setting here. But anyway, so like what I'm saying, I can just turn on the panel scope too. Maybe, oops, sorry, to turn them off, and then go to this one. Maybe I turn on all of this. It's only the panel right now, and it's much faster than you select things. So this is what I recommend you guys can try about it, because almost we try to migrating all the project to cloud model. So I think this is a good way that we should use it and set it up as a template or something in the beginning. So later on we will have less hassle for relinquishing, like all the things inside one work set, and then you cannot easily manage them. And then other thing is work sharing display setting. This one is I just see it under the this bar. I'm not using it at all. But if someone using it, let me know. But maybe you can tell me what you think. You go to this guy. It's work set. So if you go to work set, it only turns on, not turns on. It has different colors that coloring different work sets. So you can easily tell by just turn on it. So let me go back to my original one. Have everything turned on. So just show an idea how does it look like. So the display setting, like what I'm saying, you can define by work sets or other things. And you can turn it on by just kick out the work sets. and the work set will be defined by different colors. And if you have a lot of shades inside one model, that would be nice. But yeah, it depends on project again. So this is the work set. Next one is view template. So why to use a view template? So not only the override properties mentioned above can be included assigned, but also the other properties like detail level, other visibility setting, etc. can set in the template. I think what a lot of people are familiar with view template, but I'm gonna just show how to use that later, because I wish we could be more manageable to it, and or also will maybe the fab team or other people will be carefully to touch the view template or view setting. It can help to ensure adherence to standards and achieve consistency across your set. So you can select the view all at once by Shift key and then change the view template at once, which is very nice. And how to use and how to make and use a view template. Create a view template. So I'm gonna show how to create a view template based on an existing view template. So you go to manage, view template, manage view template. And I have a lot of view template here already. So you can have different setting compared to the elevation. With floor plans, you can have different override setting. So I can show what I'm talking about, the reference setting in here too. I think I show it just now, right? So I have this setting in elevation view, and I have different setting in the different like loft or different elevations, and I can show a little bit later. So the view setting, for example, I go to 212. This is the loft elevation that looking at here. And looking at the loft, I have different setting compared to the other one, because I have the other side of the building, the reference plane was turned off for the verticals. So inside here, reference plane, I have the word east, word south, word west turned off. Only the loft is turned on to manage the reference plane, and turn off the other panels, and only leave the DP on for the loft. And that's how I apply different between the elevations, and I might have different setting for floor plans, of course. Floor plans, I have different overrides also, right? Depends on what your preference. And I have more things to turn on in the floor plans compared to elevations, I think. And then for how to create that. So based on the existing views, this existing view template, sorry. So you click at one of the view template and you click at duplicate and you call it with a view. And then the existing setting is same as the one that you was duplicated from. And you can change the setting here and it won't affect the other one in this case. And then also you can go to this view, you can create template from current view. So what it means is you create a template from the view template inside here. So you click at this view, you call it something, and then maybe and then you will show the same. You will create a view template from here. So you can apply view template to the current view. You can click on one of the view template and apply to this view. And assign a view template. So like what I'm saying just now, you can select the view, hit shift key, and then on the right side here, you can go to here under view template, and you can select the template that you're creating all at once. And so for example, elevation, I have this south elevation is all from the south. So I'm assigning to elevation south. Yeah, which is easy. And so this is everything that I have today, I think.
So Celine,
questions?
Yeah, Celine, I like ask you questions about how we're gonna model this in drafting, because I've been talking to a couple people over here, like Mike and Yuriko, I think, and Gabriel. I asked the question is, what is the efficient way to let me turn my video. So what's the efficient way to add the hidden line or like a halftone overlay to representing the upper floor element, like a soffit, balcony transaction, for example, the Matilda at the fourth floor. Or you have like a roof flyby, like eyebrow stuff. If you can show that one dashed in for representing the top, or for example, GFRC, you dashed in, it's critical for reference. We on the AutoCAD you say for reference, but for Revit, I talked to Yuriko. Yuriko talked me she said that, to be honest with you, we haven't set up our standard for this yet. But I encourage your lead team to develop something for this one. This is very critical for the checker. For like me, I'm like a project coordinator. When I review that one, it helped me a lot. I don't need to flip back and forth to figure out where the transactions. You know, if you have that one there, I believe they will be help architect to prove our drawing faster too. Does that make sense? Am I said clear?
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, like what I'm saying, I don't know your question, but you can do something by this category, and you can change your setting inside.
Yeah, I did try that one.
But sometimes we might create the same thing as our scopes. So you might use filter or model categories.
Yeah, I did. The reason it's hard for us is because that usually is a reference one, like GFRC model, architecture model, not ours. So they group things, it's different with us. For example, GFRC, they have like a steel frame behind their panels. I don't see it. I want to separate them. And for example, if you architect drawings, they can group some together. You couldn't separate them. So I'm just thinking. So that's why I asked Yuriko. Yuriko said sometimes she has to be work around of it, which is create additional work for us to mimic something over there. I think she said that she's gonna make a video to me, but I don't know where's the video. She probably posted that back in May. I discussed with her about this one, and also Mike Bello also have some idea how to do this one in a rounded way, which is I don't like the round way. I'm pretty sure you have way to do in the Revit directly, and just we need to set up a standard for it.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard because this is what I was not sure like if we should spend time on it too, because it's not really, before it's not really for drafters work, but right now I spend more time on this because I don't want to lose the things, or it's easier for me to model, or I can better manage my model for the whole team. It's like I'm thinking about the whole team mind.
Yeah.
So
Because you
that's
guys hands on this one. Yeah, you guys hands on this one every day. So I'm just thinking ahead. If anything, we can make the more legibility. I mean, faster, easier.
But
But
Lynn, are you talking about on a detail or are you talking about someplace else? You just want to dot it in on the detail, right?
no. Well, yes or no on the floor plans. For example,
Well,
if you have a,
it'll be shown on the floor plans because it's part of the section. You don't need to dot it in, but we would
no,
normally
it's
dot
not
it
there.
in the details.
It's not there. It's not in the plan. I think James or maybe Celine can explain that one. Because basically, the rivet is where you cut it, you see down.
Yeah,
If you have
4 feet up.
soffit above,
In
you
all
couldn't see it.
architectural standards, it's 4 feet off the floor is where you take the cut.
Yes, but if you see above, where's the eyebrow flyby on the top, where's the transactions? A line up projected to the bottom. You couldn't see it from just cutting that one. But I know they have a way to do it in the Revit. You just need to set up right.
We can change
you,
the location of the cut plane if you want, but
yes, yes,
Yeah.
and it cannot set up. It's really relying on the job drafter, because every job is different. Like
Yeah.
your cutting plane, right? You
Right.
can tell it's like maybe 15 feet high or 10 feet high or 0 feet high.
Yeah,
So
but my
it's
point is we missed a lot of when we check that one, we missed a lot of transactions because we don't have that line shows on plan view. We
right.
don't know where the exact transaction will happen. So it's very easy to miss it. It's not people not pay attention because you know there. That's why when I check that one, I have to go back, take the drawings to figure out where's the location. Then go back to our drawing, see, oh, I need to watch here. Does this line up correctly? Inside color transaction right, above to bottom. Is that line up? Do we have problems over there? Because I have flipped a lot of drawings to figure out the location is. Our drawing does not show it.
it's a good one to like to take a look at with the drafting group. I mean, it's something we could look at and see for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had one question for you though. When you went into, you were showing how on the linked models, you could also control by setting them all to custom, you could control the visibility on the linked models also. I think you said everything's view specific. So is that view specific also?
Yeah, you can do that too if you want.
And if it is view specific, let's say you wanted to apply it to a bunch of views, is there an easy way to apply that same setting to all your floor plans? So if once you set one up the way you like it, can you do that easily?
Yeah, that's why I'm mentioning the view template at the end. So if you have the setting you want already, so you just create a view setting by create view template. And then this is like a template that you can assign at once to every view that you want to select. You just easily click at the first one, hit the shift key, hit the last one, and then you can go to here and you pick at the one you want and click OK. That's it.
And that works with the linked models also.
That will work with the link model also. It has these, if you go to, if you have this checkbox check on, the cases, and then this one, it means if the box is checked, it means that this parameters is constrained to any views that you assign to the same view template. So under this Revit links, you can just go the same thing I show, custom, and then you can change it here. And if you change one of the transparency inside this casework, it will apply to all the other views that you apply to the same view template.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just wasn't sure about that part. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Great job today, by the way. Really nice.
Thank you. Okay, all right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Celine.
Yeah, bye. Have a nice one.
Thank you, Celine.